And we're back for our second knife technique as well as our second recipe. So for this one, we're gonna go ahead and do dices. Now, the key to dices is really paying attention to how far apart you put your different cuts. It's pretty straightforward. It just makes a grid and you have the ability to make the grid as big or small as you want. The third technique that we're gonna do later is just a very fine dice, and it adds just really one more element on top of what we're gonna do right here. And I'll give a kind of a brief segue into that when I start the cutting, but just knowing that really this second one and then the third installment is going to be very similar, but that extra move allows you to make a more precise and fine mince in essence. So let's go ahead and get going. We have our bench scraper, so you don't use your knife to actually lift up the onion. We have our knife. We're gonna do our proper grip. So I talked about before, we have our onion. Think of this as North Pole. The root is the South Pole. But unlike the earlier video where I went ahead and cut off that part, this time we're gonna leave that, and that's gonna give us the structure to allow us to make really a beautiful grid cut and produce perfectly sized dice. So here we go. All right, so take off that top part. Now you have a flat base. You're gonna come right down the middle here, so find the middle of that root. Okay, and as we said before, take off whatever part of the onion you want to. I already got rid of some of the outer, really thin paper layer before, so that's just gonna go right there. All right, so let's take a look at what we have. Again, North Pole's cut off, South Pole, the root is still there. That means that everything here is hanging on to this, and you can see that here. What we're gonna do is make slices this way down. But what we're not gonna do is get into the root. So all my slices need to end at least right around here, so right around there. And of course on the side where there is no root, I don't wanna cut too far or else those pieces are gonna fall off. And that's gonna happen occasionally, and that's okay. You'll just have to come cut them once you're done with the rest. But you can give yourself a little bit of leeway by not cutting all the way through on the sides. All right, get this out of the way. Here we go, give you guys a better view. So let's start right there, okay? And go about again, this is where you can look at those lines on the onion and kind of give yourself a good guide on how big your slices are. But you can see, I'm gonna try my best not to break this up, but how even all of my slices are right there. Now, depending on how far back I go here on each cut, gonna be how large. I've already made these about a third of an inch, almost a half inch. So let's do that same, about a half inch coming back this way, about a third. All right, so then when you get to this part, as you can see, the root's still right there. So now you're just gonna kind of have a little fun with it and just cut away at that. If you see some really big pieces, give them a cut. But for the most part, hopefully what you're seeing here are very equal size little dices. All right, so that's the first half. We'll do that again. Again, if you see anything that's just A little out of the ordinary. Grab it, put it in. All right. Again, here's your root. I didn't peel anything off of that. So let's take this top piece off. All right. Done about 1/3 of an inch cut. Making sure we don't go all the way through back there. Same thing here. All right. Here we go. Look how easy that is. All right, I'm gonna get rid of a little bit of that really yellow right in the middle. A little more bitter. Other than that, we're good. The recipe that we're gonna make right now is a red onion jam. So I want my pieces to be, very similar in size, but I'm not worrying about them being, maybe a piece or two slightly irregular. They're gonna get cooked down quite a bit. But as you can see, these are, good medium-sized dice. And that's really what you're looking for. And that's pretty easy, just cutting down and then, flipping it the other way and cutting perpendicular to that. That's all there is to it, to making just a medium dice.